Welcome to another Stopping Socialism video. I'm Donald Kendal, joined as always by Justin Haskins. So Al Gore is the latest of the global elite that is out there calling for the Great Reset. So if you haven't watched one of our latest videos that we did on the Great Reset, you should check it out. We did like a 15-20 minute basically expose, I don't know, into what the Great Reset is. We've done a whole bunch of different articles on it. We'll do the video. Maybe we'll put the link in the show notes or something, but you should check it out. It basically outlines the roadmap of what the plan is to enact a 21st century socialism. So check that out. But Al Gore has joined kind of the chorus of these of people as, you know, like Prince Charles that are calling for the Great Reset. So just the other day, on NBC's Today show, or I think it's just called Today, he says, so I think it's time for a great reset. We've got to fix a lot of these problems that have been allowed to fester for far too long. So it's time to reset a bunch of challenges. First among them is the climate crisis. I guess it's not a surprise. He's kind of showing his hand that he's in on this plan, but I guess I wouldn't have expected him to not be part of the plan.
Yeah, so a couple things, a couple reasons why I think it's important. Number one, he is, as far as I know, the first major U.S. political figure. There have been businesses, but political figure. He's the first major political figure to openly endorse it or even really talk about it. For the most part, it's been kind of a European-led thing. The other reason why it's really important is because the details of the Great Reset, the whole point is to reset capitalism, get rid of the current capitalist system globally, not just in the United States or Europe, but all over the world. The details of it are going to be hammered out, and the planning and coordination and all that are going to be hammered out at a meeting in January 2021 in Davos. That's the plan. The theme of that meeting is going to be the Great Reset. It's a meeting that's going to be held by the World Economic Forum. They're the ones that have been leading the charge on the Great Reset. So at that meeting, they're calling this a twin summit. Normally, the Davos meeting is just for the rich and powerful, big corporations, heads of corporations, heads of state, powerful activist groups, etc. Those are usually the people who go. It's usually a few thousand people that go to this conference in Davos, along with some media people. This time they're doing a twin summit. So the second part of the summit is going to be with activists. And I think they're probably going to do this virtually somehow, but they're going to have activists, thousands of activists from groups all over the world that are part of this network called the Global Shapers Community. Shaper meaning like shape. The Global Shapers Community. The Global Shapers Community is a youth activist organization. It was created by the World Economic Forum several years ago, so this is sort of an in-house thing. The reason this is related to Al Gore is because the Global Shapers Community has been closely tied with Al Gore's powerful, extremely powerful climate organization called the Climate Reality Project. Now, the Climate Reality Project, in an annual report that I found from 2019, I believe, estimated that they have already, at that point in time that they created that report, that they had already trained 1,300, more than 1,300, in fact, global shapers on climate activism, climate tactics, and that many of those global shapers, because remember, Global Shapers, a youth activist organization, that many of those global shapers also trained in Al Gore's climate, is sort of a similar kind of program called the Climate Reality Leaders Program. So these climate reality leaders and these global shapers are all sort of kind of the same thing. There is some overlap there. They're two distinct organizations, but they're the same kind of thing. And I suspect that they're all going to be promoting the Great Reset in 2021, but certainly the global shapers are, since they're going to be part of the actual forum itself. There are about 7,000 or so global shapers in more than 150 cities. I can't remember how many there are. I think it was more than 170 cities or sorry, it was 400 cities, but 170 countries is what I meant. All over the world, these people are going to be trained in climate activism. Many of them already have been trained in climate activism, and now they're going to be activated by this event to go out and promote the Great Reset. And the other thing to remember about this event is that they're not just going to be, supposedly, they're not just going to be getting their marching orders and then go off. They're going to have some kind of an input into this. And these people are, in many cases, pretty radical. I mean, these people were involved in the climate strikes. I don't know if you remember that, Donnie. But in 2019, there were a bunch of climate strikes. Several million people took part in those climate strikes, where students basically just walked out of their schools and refused to go to school in solidarity with, what was her name? With Greta. And so I think that these people have proven that they're able to get millions of people to engage in these sort of collective actions for the climate strikes. They've also had hundreds of thousands of people attend protests that they've started, according to their own documents. I can't remember if that was Al Gore's group or if that was the other one, but same thing. The point here is, if they want to create a big, massive spectacle to promote the Great Reset on a global level, sort of comparable to the sort of things we're seeing right now around the world or around the United States, they have the infrastructure already in place. They have the people already trained. They have the network already in existence. All they have to do is get everybody together and say, all right, go out and promote this idea, demand it, require it, go on strike, refuse to take no for an answer, right? And they already have that infrastructure built in. So this is incredibly powerful. It's not just the rich and famous and powerful people getting together coming up with this. They have a grassroots youth activist group already lined up to do it too. So this is really important and pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could have a group of elites in a room talking about something and it doesn't do anything. But yeah, this is their feet on the ground. This is their grassroots. These are the organizations that are key to this. So when you hear that Al Gore is also calling for this Great Reset, and along with Al Gore comes this kind of network of activist types that are already primed and ready to kind of cause disruption, gets a little scary. Justin, I must say.
Yeah, and I think, look, I think there's a reason why, because one of the interesting things is that this isn't a theory. I mean, on the World Economic Forum website, they say that they're going to have the global shapers be part of this big event that they're doing. And it's interesting because the global shapers, remember, is a youth organization. Okay, you have to be under the age of 30 to be in it. That's my understanding of the rules that I read. So why would they choose a youth organization to be the only other network? As far as I can tell, they're only talking about that network being part of this event. Why them? Why not some other network of climate activists? Why not all these other climate organizations? Why that group? Why are they so involved? Why are they inviting them? And I think it's because what they saw, what they learned from the whole thing that occurred with Greta. What's Greta's last name? Can't remember. Thunberg, right. What they learned from Greta Thunberg is that...
How dare you, first of all?
I know. How dare you? We don't have Andy here to play the clip. Where are you, Andy? But I really think that they learned a lesson from that, right? If you can use these kids, you can use kids to make a more appealing message. And I don't just, obviously, if you're 25, you're not a kid necessarily, right? But you can use young people to make this message more powerful and to get media on board and to get lots of attention. Because if you can get a bunch of 17-year-olds and 16-year-olds talking about climate change and refusing to go to school, then you're going to get all kinds of press. If a 45-year-old, climate activist is not going to get that much press. And so they've learned their lesson from the Greta Thunberg, the whole experience, and they're taking advantage of it. And that's why I think they're partnering with this youth organization rather than, some other organization that doesn't require to be under the age of 30. It's kind of a strange thing to say, well, if you're under 30, then you can't be part of our group. I don't believe Al Gore's group has that same cutoff, by the way. So those people could be involved in all of it. But the global shapers, those are the ones who are actually going to be part of this conference in Davos in January 2021.
Yeah, I mean, this is Justin and I believe that this is the most important thing going on right now. It brings together socialism. It brings together the climate change alarmism. You know, the protests that are going on, all of this, the modern monetary theory, this is all where it's all coming to a head right here. So we're obviously going to be staying on top of it. If you're interested in this and believe that it's as important as we believe it is, go over to stoppingsocialism.com, check it out. We've got a lot of content on this. You could also follow us on Facebook, Stopping Socialism. We also have a YouTube account where you can find more videos like this, Stopping Socialism TV, and we have an Instagram and Parler account as well. Justin, where can the fine people find you?
At Justin T. Haskins on Facebook and Twitter.
All right. Thank you all. We'll talk to you later.